gold down there, Diane. There's gold down there.
You're like their number one favorite guy. Because you won them cash. Welcome to the tour report from Secret Golf. Well, we have 2 weeks of golf left here in 2021, and this week it's off to the luxury of the Bahamas. We have fake Bahamas behind us, but Elk, it's the Hero World Challenge at Albany Golf Club. And well, the exciting thing about this week is it's Tiger's event. Are we going to see him?
I think we are. I mean, we saw a little snippet the other day, 3-second video of his swing. It looked pretty good too. I was pretty surprised how well his body is moving, but I'm sure he's done a ton of rehab. He's obviously, his right leg is the issue. He's wearing a compression bandage on that, Diane. That'll be something we'll have to keep an eye on. I think the question is, he can swing, but will he be able to walk for hours and hours and hours? And hope so. But I think it'll be a real relief for a lot of the players just to see that Tiger's there. Obviously, from his reaction on social media, he still is the needle. He moves the needle the most. And we have 20 needle movers in this event, Diane. Invitation only, basically, all the major winners, 3 special exemptions from Tiger's company. And, you know, we're going over to this beautiful place in the Bahamas. It's $100,000 for last place. So I'm not looking at the stats this week because I don't think it matters. I think we're just going to have to look down the list, and we're going to give you our gut feeling on each one of them, I think.
Yes. Well, I mean, as you say, it's a tiny field, only 20 players. This is actually the largest field that they've ever had in this tournament as well. It's usually 18. But the other thing about this year is 2020, the event was cancelled because of COVID. So our defending champion, who is back in the field this week, is Henrik Stenson, which, if you don't really know what went on with this tournament before, you look at the field, it's made up of guys that are in the official world golf ranking top 50. And then we have Stenson thrown in. But he held off John Ram coming down the stretch in 2019 to win this event. So, as you say, it's a star-studded event. We've got all the big names playing this week. And the interesting thing is we have a lot of first-timers. Guys that have been playing very well on the PGA Tour over the past 2 years who are making their first appearance at the Hero World Challenge. Yeah,
I've kind of split my handicapping sheet today, Diane, into those that have played the tournament before and those that have not, the first timers. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that haven't played here. But going back to Stenson, you close your eyes, Diane, and for one split second, you could think of Stenson being one of the top players in the world, and then open him, and he's like not even in the top 100 right now. So things change very quickly. There's a lot of stars we're going to talk about. MORIKAWA is playing, JT, SPIETH, Alexander Schauffele. But Stenson's been left out of this picture. Maybe he's moved on a little bit in his age. Maybe he's focusing on his children or whatever. But I'm not picking Stenson this week, no.
Okay. Here, before we go any further, I know you're going to love this. Look at my coffee that I have. Oh, it's
fancy. You're the queen of fancy drinks.
I know, you always make a point of referencing it. So I was like, perfect, my coffee is doing it today. Right, well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the course, because you can see behind me, it's a very sandy course. I mean, we're in Albany in the Bahamas, so you would expect sand, you would expect wind. It was designed by Ernie Els, and there's a lot of characteristics that are kind of linksy. So a lot of dunes, you know, with that wind coming in, but we're only going to see like an inch and a half of rough. But there's some very well-placed or tricky placed water hazards out there this week too.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a lot of stories that are in this field that we'll go through. You know, Brooks Koepka's playing this week with brand new club, Strixon. We've seen him finish last in this event. So we know that guys don't have their strategy game going. They're going to hit a lot of drivers. They're going to try to drive it down there a mile, you know, try to make the course short. It's $100,000 if they don't do any good this week. They're going to relax, probably take their families over, have a good time. If you get it going, you get it going. there is a few guys that I think that are going to be trying more than others, and that's why, and guys that have been under pressure recently. We know MORIKAWA just won. We know that HOVLAND just won in Mexico. And the field, to me, Diane, will be sort of scattered between guys that I think are the favorites and then guys we're going to watch. So I think for today, maybe we take our field of newcomers and guys that have played before, and maybe we pick one from each side. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. Okay then, well, there's a lot of big names. Let's start by talking about some of the real kind of premier names that are playing this week. And Rory McIlroy, we'll dive into him first. Interestingly enough, it's his first time playing in Albany in this event. We just saw Rory's Hulk Hogan moment in Dubai where it looked like the tournament was his and he blew up on the final round. I mean, have we heard this storyline before? And he ripped his shirt. Have you ever seen anything like that in golf before?
I've seen guys rip their glove off. I've seen guys rip their hat, their visor. I've seen them rip everything they've had their hands on. So I can certainly, feel for Rory McIlroy. He had that tournament. He's gone through a fair bit mentally. It seems like, we go with Rory on a lot of these. We talk about, well, put it this way. When we always talk about Rory, we're always talking about here. We're never really that worried about his game other than when he got the hooks and he went to Pete Cowan and now he's not with Pete Cowan. We know the talent's there. It's always up here. And this is the first time he's going to be playing this event. So I'm not putting him on my card this week, although I still think Rory, most gifted player probably in the field. So where do you have him?
I am not picking him as my outright favourite. We're each going to give an outright favourite and then we'll give a one to watch as well, kind of at the end of the show. But no, Rory's not on my radar. Another guy who has played this tournament before and in 2019 kind of finished down the bottom of the pack. We just saw him in action in Vegas. We maybe saw too much of him from his time in Vegas, but Bryson DeChambeau, who lost to Koepka in the match. I know what you're going to talk about right now. You do? Yes, I can. Well, he put that crazy picture, and how much, Diane, you saw it, you text me, you said, did you see Bryson in that is that Vaseline all over his chest? I mean, what happened there, Diane? Were they going for why would you do that? So first of all, this is just my personal opinion, but there's nothing more unattractive than a man taking a selfie in the mirror anyway. Like, doesn't matter if they're fully clothed, whatever they're doing. I think it's just very cringeworthy. And secondly, to do it without a shirt on, I have to say, right, credit to Bryson. He is way more ripped than I thought he was going to be. When I first saw the picture, I thought that he had been photoshopped and it was his head on someone else's body. But when you just threw the word Vaseline into the mix, I am out, even more than I was before. Well, it didn't go well for him out there. Brooks Koepka obviously was sitting in the weeds waiting for him. He's been waiting for this opportunity for quite a while. I don't really felt like it was a rivalry. There was a lot of cringy moments. Phil Mickelson was commentating, although Phil has a lot of good things to talk about. He knows everything about the game, but he went a little too heavy down the Bryson track. And Bryson, our producer, noted Bryson's so technical with his putting that he leaves almost no room for any kind of sort of naturalness or any kind of feel that this putt may do this. It's just like, whoop, well, that missed. I hit it perfect, but it just broke more than we thought. Oh, next putt. And they were talking about alpha and beta breathing and getting in the moment and all that. Well, he was already in the moment. He didn't need to get into the moment. He should have been in the moment when he went out there because he had the whole thing slicked down. He was supposed to be in the moment. But the moment went to Brooks Koepka. 4 or 5 birdies. I saw him. And he wishes he had a chance to do more. And, Brooks has got new equipment. I am looking at the board here, Diane, on Brooks Koepka. I'm jumping to his opponent there, or the victor in that match. I'm not picking Brooks either this week. I think that was a big mental thing for him to get out there and do that. He's got new Srixon gear. I think there'll be Srixon guys from everywhere in the Bahamas testing stuff and gear. And I don't have him. He finished last in this tournament the last time he played. So
Brooks and Bryson are off my board today.
The thing about Brooks and the Srixon deal is he was playing Srixon irons for a while. But obviously now he's signed to them exclusively, and he's talking about the fact that he loves the driver so much. I mean, he seemed to be playing well in Vegas. He putted well in Vegas for sure, and he took Bryson down. What was it? It was supposed to be a 12-hole match. We saw like, what, 9? And everyone's looking at their watches like, what do we do now?
Yeah, everyone knows that, I think at this point, what we're watching is the two guys we want to see what they're doing. I mean, I was pretty impressed with Bryson hitting that 205 mile an hour ball speed. But I must note to you, and I said it in the pre-show, probably the number one player on the tour right now, without anyone's question, is COLLIN MORIKAWA. And he has like 165 mile an hour ball speed. So if all these guys are out on tour trying to go, chase Bryson up the ladder, even Rory McIlroy said, I want to get more speed like Bryson. The best player, is probably the lowest ball speed. He hits it straight, hits it next to the pin, and he holds putts. He won the Open, he won the Dubai, he won the money list over there. He's won everything.
Listen, don't say too much about Morikawa yet, because I have a feeling that he's going to be coming up again a little bit later in our show. Another name back in action this week, Xander Schauffele. We haven't seen him for a long time. So Xander back in the field this week. And I mean, he's played pretty well here before, carding 2 top 10 finishes. Jordan Spieth is another one, and you know what I'm about to say, because he just had a baby. However, he did just had a baby.
Elk Diane today with you and the baby, because he lives in Dallas and he just had a brand new baby and the weather's been kind of chilly. I know what it's like to have a new baby, or I can still remember. And you're going to be with that baby all the time, so he's not going to have been practicing, so I don't have him on the board this week either.
Yeah. The only time he missed this tournament was 2018 when he was on his honeymoon. But I don't know, maybe he's packing the family, they're all going to the Bahamas, or maybe he's having a little break and he's going to have some time away. But as you say, his first time being a new dad, so his life has been thrown upside down. It'll be interesting to see how he plays. Also, he named his little boy Sammy, which I thought of you right away. It was very sweet.
Well, I told my family that Jordan Spieth's wife's name's Annie, which is my daughter's name, and now he has a new baby named Sam, or Sammy, same as my son. So, hey, me and Jordan, we're tight.
I like it. Right, okay, so we've gone through some of the big names playing this week. Coming up, we are going to give you our main outright winner. We'll each give you one, and we're going to give you a couple of names to look out for this week at the Hero World Challenge.
The SG Tour Golf Gaming app, the place for you to compete and win cash on PGA Tour events. The SG Tour is a golf experience like no other, with games designed by golf professionals. You can play single-day games and tournament-long contests each week. It's easy to get involved. Join or create a game for you and your buddies. Pick 4 players and follow along with the action. And if you need some help with your picks, we've got you covered with our weekly handicapping show, The Tour Report, and exclusive content with our PGA Tour players. Join the fun and win money on the SG Tour, available in the App Store.
Only a couple of tournaments left in 2021, and this week it's the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas, Tiger's event. We're hoping to see the man himself this week as well. Of course, he's not playing, but we do have 20 guys in the field. Now, Elk and I have been running through a few of them. Elk, there's a few other names that obviously we have to touch upon. Patrick Reed has played in every single Hero World Challenge that has been played in Albany, along with Justin Rose, who lives there. So we'll talk about him a little bit later on as well. But Patrick Reed has played well at this tournament before. What do you think of his chances this week?
Well, I think this, I don't know, this course, obviously, when it gets windy, guys are hitting a lot of drivers. They do finish up in some of this waste area that you're seeing behind there. This, of course, is where all the controversy started with Patrick Reed. Will that come into play at all? He's had all kind of issues with that. I really think Reed is, off step with his game since he had that double lung infection and he almost died, his own words or his wife's words. So, Patrick Reed, as I said earlier on the show about Stenson, you got to be careful on tour, Diane. You can blink and lose your position by 50 spots in a second. And has Reed slipped a little bit? He got passed over at the Ryder Cup. I don't think he's they didn't need him in the end. No, I don't have Reed up on my board this week, although he travels very well. Reed goes everywhere. And when he goes somewhere, he usually plays pretty well. So yeah, he'll be, I've got my group, Diane, done in between guys that have played here and guys that are rookies and who can do, but I'm also interested in who's actually can win it this week and are they really focused enough?
Another name that's interesting to talk about this week is Harris English. So Harris English is playing as a first-timer here. We saw him at the Ryder Cup. He struggled with a back injury and has kind of been resting up for the past month. But what I find mind-blowing, and we've talked about this when it comes to English's game, is we didn't have this tournament in 2020, but in 2019, Harris English was battling with conditional status on the PGA Tour, which just seems many moons ago. But it's going to be good to first of all have him back. Hopefully he's fit and healthy and playing well, but first time around the Albany Golf Club.
Many moons ago or many millions ago? I think both are relevant, but Harris English is one of the best young players out on tour. On my list, Diane, I don't think any of one of the newcomers are going to win this tournament. I think there's so much action on the other side, so many guys that have played this tournament before that have experience and are likely to play better. Not picking anyone on this left side over here, but Harris English, it is good to see him back. He's a very straight hitter. He putts good, chews gum all the time, stays nice and calm. But he's not my pick, Diane, out of the left side of my list.
Okay, well, do you want to give us your left side pick?
I certainly do. And it's not Rory either. Sam Burns was one I was looking at. He's a first timer. So there's Harris English, Tyrrell Hatton, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Abraham ANCER from Mexico, Sam Burns, Viktor Hovland, and Rory McIlroy. I think the one I'm watching is Abraham ANCER. I don't think he's done doing what he wants to do. And I think this young man is a star. He doesn't have a coach. I like everything about Abe ANCER. Comes from Mexico, has a sort of a nice, slow disposition. Inside, there's this big fire burning. He won that first WGC. I just think there's a lot under the hood, so to speak, Diane. There's a lot of RPMs there that want to come out. So I'm sitting on him. Well, don't be surprised if I'm sitting on him a lot.
Yeah, you are.
I'm looking at Abraham ANCER to play well out of the newcomers.
Okay, well, I'm looking at Viktor Hovland. I just find it so hard to overlook Hovland. Yes, his first time here, but he's one of those guys where his game is so elite that he travels well. He can turn up at a course and figure it out relatively quickly. I mean, most of these guys can, but last time we saw Hovland was when he defended his title successfully in MORIKAWA, and he's been rested since then. So I think that someone like Hovland's coming over here for the first time and just he plays easy free golf. There's no stress there whatsoever. He knows where his game's at. He just won. So I am looking at Viktor Hovland as my favorite from your left-hand list.
And he has to fly this week, so all those miles that he likes to drive in his car by himself, that'll be easy on him. So, yeah, I'll even have a side bet with you on our side bet, which I'll bet you ANCER beats Hovland. Well, how about we get that on the side? And by the way, we are going to have SG Tour app open this week, so we'll have a little action this week, Diane.
Okay, right, we'll tell you how you can get involved with that shortly. Well, on the subject of Hovland, I've got one other little thing that I saw on Twitter this morning, and he was at the airport flying to the Bahamas, and there was a golf journalist in the line, just a couple of people behind him, and Hovland was talking to this girl that was behind him, and she said, "Oh, what do you do?" And he said, I live in Oklahoma, I play a little bit of golf." That was his answer, and there is no more answer that I would expect from Viktor Hovland than that one.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, again, we've talked about this many times, went to Oklahoma State, was there with Matthew Wolff. We all knew Wolff was going to be the star coming out, although Hovland won the US Amateur at Pebble Beach, and he has not looked back. He had a chipping issue, he's fixed it. He's won in 2 or 3 different places. He's won overseas in Europe. He won in Mexico. I mean, the guy is just a stud. He had a good Ryder Cup. You were there. Losing side for Europe. However, he played very well, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows that he drives it straight. He's strong, good attitude. He's going to be, he's going to be a guy that could win the FedEx Cup.
Yeah, for sure. Okay then, well, we are going to give you our ones to watch in a little while, but let's start with our outright favourite. So I'm guessing from what you've said, this is going to be someone from the right-hand side of your list, someone that has played here before. I have my guy, but I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I talked about Abraham ANCER, who's got some RPMs under the hood. And of course, COLLIN MORIKAWA, who just won in Dubai and won the Open Championship and won the money list in Europe. He has been under the most pressure recently.
Yeah.
But my pick this week is going to be JT, Justin Thomas. He's got a new caddy. I think JT is motivated. Diane, I watch him on Instagram. He's working on his swing. His dad was out most of the season with some health problems, so he wasn't highly coached. Working on his wedge swing. He drives it great. He's played good at this event, and I think JT has got a lot left in the tank. I think he wants to win the FedEx Cup. And this, by the way, has nothing to do with the FedEx Cup. I just think he knows this course really well. He's finished, I think, 5th and 3rd. So a win here is a natural sort of progression for JT.
And he's playing good. We saw him finish solo 3rd at MORIKAWA. So JT, it's all coming together. A new caddy with bones on the bag as well. So yeah, I get that. However, he's not my outright favourite, and my outright favourite is the outright favourite this week, and you mentioned him, and it's COLLIN MORIKAWA. And how can he not be? I mean, just coming off winning the race to Dubai, we talked about Rory's collapse in the final round and the shirt rip. So Morikawa winning there, then winning the European Tour's season-long money list. And when I think of this is Tiger's tournament, and if you're going to look at one guy over the past 5-10 years, he hasn't even been playing for that long, but in the short time that he's been on tour, if you're going to look at any young guy to really draw comparisons when it comes to Tiger, you're going to look at COLLIN MORIKAWA. With his elite iron play, I just think that there's a reason why he's at the top of majority of people's boards this week. And then, he's the Open champion. So how can you ever see past that, especially when there's a few little comparisons to links golf at Albany Golf Club. So COLLIN MORIKAWA, no surprises. He's my #1 guy this week.
Well, he could have been mine, but I'm going to let you have him this week because you got the pick first. But we saw him win the Open Championship, of course, with a 3-wood, which was kind of refreshing to see. All these guys are going down that track, 220 mile an hour ball speed. Bryson was in the long drive contest. All these guys they get on Twitter and they show us how much ball speed they got. And here's COLLIN MORIKAWA sitting back here at 165 miles an hour. Those fairways behind you that are windy and hard to hit, they'll be the widest for COLLIN MORIKAWA because he's the best driver. So he'll be in those fairways all week. So of course, it's a good pick. He has the energy. He's young. His hobby is like eating, and he weighs like nothing. So how is that fair?
It's a nice hobby to have. The other thing about this course that we haven't noted yet is there's 5 par 5s out here this week. So that, I mean, the score is going to be round about 20 under par. That's kind of what we usually see. But yeah, 5 par 5s, it's going to be interesting to see. That wind is going to pick up a little bit too. And I think there's a bit of rain maybe forecast for Saturday. So we'll see what that brings.
Yeah, and these tournaments, Diane, I've been lucky enough to play in some of these smaller events. It usually there's about 5 or 6 guys that play good, and the rest of them sort of fall off, and then they fall off further and further and further. They know they can't come back because they're making 100 grand, so they just kind of chill and maybe work on a special shot that they're working on, or work on their swing or whatever, and show a lot of respect to the tournament organizers and put on a show. Yeah. So we're trying to help people here think about who is actually the favorites. JT, Morikawa, they've been under pressure recently. HOVLAND, as you noted, ANCER, these are some of the players. Scotty Scheffler, we didn't speak of, hasn't won on the tour. I don't think he's going to win this week, because if he did win, would it actually count as being off the snide of getting a win? So not worth a win to Scheffler. So, or is it?
Yeah, okay. Right, well, still to come on the show, we're going to tell you how you can get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app this week, and we're going to give you our ones to watch for the Hero World Challenge Tigers event in the Bahamas.
Get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app and play 4-ball. It's a classic stroke play competition based on the aggregate scores of 4 players. Who makes your team? Well, pick 4 guys, 1 from each tier, based on the current world golf rankings. Want a tip? You need 4 guys to make the cut. Get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app, available on iOS in the App Store.
Right, well, we've given you our favourites. We've gone through most of the field, actually. There's a few guys we haven't touched on. One of them is going to be very hungry after his Ryder Cup performance. We haven't seen Daniel Berger in action since then. So this could be a good one for him to come and make some moves.
I would normally agree with you, Diane, but I'm not going to this time, because the first round for Daniel Berger will be the most important, because he's rusty coming from the Ryder Cup. Will he be able to get out of the gate 4 or 5 shots not behind some of these guys that have been playing? And I'm saying no. I think Daniel Berger is doing what we used to do. He used to have a legitimate break in their seasons after the Ryder Cup. I think he's smart. I talked to some of the tour players like Kokrak, Mark Leishman, Pat Perez, Jason Duffner. They're all at my house at the Houston Open. They wish they could take time off, but there's so many tournaments, so tempting, so much money, and they never get that long break. So I'm envious, and a lot of people are envious of Daniel Berger just sitting at home for a couple of months. It's not going to be his week, Diane, but that's okay. He's there.
Xander Schauffele is another one who's really rested up too, because obviously he won that gold medal in Japan, which was incredible at the Olympics, and then he was part of that victorious Ryder Cup team as well. So Xander back in action, and last year finished, or 2 years ago, sorry, in a tie for 10th.
There's no way for me to not count him in the environment. This is his style. Once he gets going, he does it. I just don't have him at the top this week. It could be, but I just don't have him this week. He's top 5 player in the world.
And another one who finished in a tie for 10th back in 2019 was Tony Finau, and didn't really have that great a week, but then pulled out a 7 under in round 4. So Finau, has been playing well. Obviously, he got that win at the Northern Trust at the end of the season. So it's going to be good to see him back in action too.
Again, he just shot a 59 at Silverleaf Club in Scottsdale, playing with John Rahm. So, Tony Finau, another top 10 player in the world in my mind. Can he do it? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Just, he's not on the top of my board this week, but hey, you can pick him in SG Tour app.
Yeah, right. So the app, we are running the games this week, and this is fun because we're doing, you pick your 4-ball team. So the 4 tiers are split up based on the official world golf ranking. And with only 20 guys in the field, you're only going to have a choice of 5 for each tier. So it's going to be fun to pick the teams this week, because there could be just a tiny little bit of movement, or you could just completely blow it out of the water. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. And the other player we didn't mention was Webb Simpson. And Webb Simpson, of course, he always is at the top of our board when we get on courses like Greensboro and courses that aren't very long, and he can just sort of hit the ball straight. But there's just too much weaponry down this board, Diane, for him to win this week. And so I don't have Webb at the top of my board this week.
Yeah, this is only his second time playing here as well. Right, so we're going to give you a one to watch. You should be able to maybe narrow it down from the names that we haven't talked so much about, but I'm going to go with Justin Rose. And I know that you're not going to agree with me, so there's no danger of us picking the same person here. But Justin Rose, he lives in the Bahamas. He plays this course all the time. I think he shot all of his TV commercials on this course as well. And in the last 3 times playing here, he's had a 3rd place and 2 5th place finishes. There's been a kind of upturn in his game, and we've seen some real positives. So he's back on very familiar turf. So I'm looking at Justin Rose this week to do something good.
Yeah, I mean, I love everything about Justin Rose's swing. I wish he would leave it alone and just play with it. He seems like he's always tinkering, changing. He missed the Ryder Cup this year. Didn't have a great season. Don't know why. Everything looks good to me, but he just hasn't been performing. It goes back to what I said at the top about, in a blink of an eye, 50 guys can go past you and you're left out of everything. Could this be a week Justin Rose can get it together, Diane, and hold it all the way? I would normally say yes, because he has so many advantages, but there's 3 Euros on this field. Justin Rose is the best one. I don't have him in the top of my board. But Tyrrell Hatton, he's been playing terrible. And Matthew Fitzpatrick, he had a win recently, but will he have enough firepower to beat some of these guys we talked about on the other side of my board? I don't think so either. And they haven't played this course. So, look, they're coming from England. They'll be loving the weather. They'll have a drink like you with a fancy umbrella in it and just relax.
Okay, then give us yours then. Who's your one to watch?
I got Abraham ANCER.
Yay, okay.
Yeah, didn't I say that earlier?
Yeah, that's fine. You can repeat, and you're right. Well, no, because the good thing about ANCER, as you say, is it's his first time here. So let me check his odds. Justin Rose, by the way, is plus 3,000, and Abraham ANCER is plus 1,800. So, I mean, for ANCER, those are pretty good odds. You're not getting a lot of value really on anyone. I mean, Stenson is the highest by far at 55 to 1, but there's not really a huge amount of value on anyone this week.
No, I mean, it's like I said, a 20-man field. Someone's going to get out the field hot. Someone's going to have a great first round. A lot of guys are going to stumble coming out, whether they're working on equipment, they're not really focused on everything. Maybe their family. I look at Stenson, who's got kids. I got Rose, who's got kids. You know, are they over there with their whole family? Finau's got 5 kids. Will they be all together, not focused? Hard to say, but hey, that's why we do the show.
Okay. Right, well, that was fun. And we have one more event next week. We love talking about this one, actually, the shootout, the QBE shootout, affectionately known as the Shark Shootout, because it's Greg Norman's event in Naples in Florida, and the guys play in teams of 2. So we'll get into that next week. Also, make sure you download our app, the SG Tour Golf Gaming app. It's in the App Store. You can get it on all iOS devices. And go up against us. We'll have our 4-ball teams in the mix. Pick yours as well. And we'll see who's going to win the big game.
Yes, we will. I'm going to play it one more time. I've been getting crushed lately, and I don't know why, because I know everything about this field.
Okay, I'm going to clip that. Keep it for next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
Saturday is considered moving day, and you can play along on the SG Tour. It's a one-day stroke play competition where you select a team of 4 players to shoot the lowest scores of the day. Will you make big moves? Download the SG Tour Golf Gaming app on iOS now.